afternoon, and thanks so much everybody for being here. My name is Beth Finn, and I'm one of the founding board members of Philly Women Rally. We were the organizers of the Women's March on Philadelphia, which was a little over 5 months ago, as you all know, and a lot has happened since then. So we're here today to give you guys some steps, some small and large steps that you can take to continue to make an impact. When we marched back on January 21st, we had a big impact. We were across the country in every single state and in dozens of countries around the world. And that had a really big impact on things. And we're continuing to have an impact with our phone calls to our senators and our congressmen, both local and federal. And so it's really important that we keep up the momentum. I know that it can be exhausting to continue to try and say the same things over and over again, but it's super important that we keep up the fight for what's important to us. So we really appreciate that you're all here today. We have an incredible lineup of speakers. I'm so excited to share what they have to say with all of you. And just a couple of points of housekeeping. The bar is open, so please feel free to order from our bartender down here. And if you want some food, it's available in the restaurant downstairs. We have postcard stations upstairs where you can find addresses for your congressmen, for your representatives, for your senators, both state and federal. So we're gonna, I want to say one quick thing before we get started with our speakers. So today is really special for me. It's the 1-year anniversary of when I consider myself having become an activist. 1 year ago today. 1 year ago today, I was out registering people to vote in the presidential election in 2016. And because it was so important to me then to make sure that every voice was heard. And obviously that election didn't go the way that I had hoped it would, but we are still going to continue to fight the good fight. We are going to still believe in our democracy, and we are going to keep on doing our small and large acts to make an impact. So with that, our very first speaker is Representative Donna Bullock. She's our state representative from the 195th District, and she's going to tell us about what she does and how we can make an impact. Thanks, Beth.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. This is a beautiful, beautiful crowd. First off, I want to say thank you to the Philly Women Rally for just having the guts to do this in the first place. When I first met this group of women back in the end of 2016, and they were telling me that they were going to organize this women's march, I was like, are you crazy? And there's only a few weeks left, but I was just amazed with their determination and the skills that they brought to the table to get the job done. And it was an honor for me to speak at the Women's March here in Philadelphia. It was truly, truly an honor. Before I continue, I want to first acknowledge my colleague, because we are in his district, Representative Michael O'Brien, who will speak here from in a few moments. Let's give Representative O'Brien a clap. What I'd like to say about him and some of my other colleagues, I think Representative Brian Sims will join me later, is that we are lucky to have some enlightened men in the House to serve with. Not many, but I have met several that I'm happy to serve with, that understand the issues that women face and are allies, both as colleagues, as a legislator, but also as a citizen here. And so I'm very happy to have him here in the House as well. But today I want to talk a little bit about our privilege. And this is something I talked about at the march, that we have these certain privileges and we acknowledge those privileges, whether it be race or gender, sexual orientation or identity, or economic status or otherwise. But many of us have had the privilege to march, the privilege to be here this afternoon, because somebody couldn't be here for some reason or another. Somebody had to work, somebody had to take care of a loved one, somebody didn't have the resources to take the transportation to get here. So whatever that reason may be, understand the privilege you have to be here in this moment, to even hear the words that I'm speaking, to even think about what you can do next to make a difference, and be responsible with that privilege. understand that you owe it to someone else who's not here to be an advocate, to stand up for what is right, and to think of others. Okay. And with that privilege, what are we going to do after the march? What are we going to do after sitting here and hearing from all these speakers? There are a number of things you can do. You can surely run for office. I love to see more women in office with me. Okay, there's something. Yes. There are organizations out there that are looking to help women interested in running for office. Organizations like Emerge, organizations like Represent PAC. So if you don't know those two organizations, get involved, look them up today, and find out what they're doing, and find out how they can be helpful to you and how you can help them. Maybe you're not the person that's going to run for office, and that's okay. There's plenty of other work for you to do. You can fundraise, you can help support another woman running for office, help her run her campaign.
Support you.
You can support me. Thank you, Lindy. There are many others just like me out there fighting, and we all need your support. We're about in the Pennsylvania House. I believe we are like number 41 in the country as far as our percentage of women that represent us. That's not going to work. We got some work to do, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for a few gentlemen I see in the audience. Thank you for being here. But you can also run for a smaller office in your community, whether it's a block captain or a committee person or PTA leader. Find something to get involved and do something and make a difference. Each of you have a skill set, whether it's the skills that you bring to work at 9 to 5 or what you do in your home. That is something that can be helpful to somebody else, and bring that to the table. Find an opportunity to contribute to your everyday life, to the people that you see every day, people that you walk by and may not even acknowledge that are there. There's so many things we can do with the skills and the resources and the privilege that each of us have, even if you don't recognize you have those things. And if you can't figure what that is, give me a call. I will go through all this stuff and say, hey, I didn't know you can write this, or you're a great photographer, or you can care for the little ones. Because when we have events like this, sometimes we need babysitting services. Some of our moms, I have my 2 little ones with me today as well. But those are things that we can all contribute to this movement as we move forward. It is going to be a challenge. Since January, I don't think we could have expected what we have seen coming from the White House. We knew it was going to be a fight. That's why we were protesting. That's why we were marching. That's why we were rallying. That's why we were on Facebook. That's why we were emailing and tweeting and everything else. But we could not have expected the level of harm that this person has done to our country and to our civilization. And so we have some work to do, and the job is not done. But we can't stop at a march. It is more than a march. Look real deep inside yourself and find out what else can you contribute. And as I mentioned, there are organizations out there willing to help, willing to find your inner Philly woman rally person. The woman who put these events together did not see themselves here a year ago. And now they are leaders in this region. So find, it is power, thank you. They have found their little Katy Perry, hear me roar inside of them. And I am so proud of them, because when I met them just 6 or 7 months ago, I didn't know that they would become the leaders that they are today. And I think that is a message that I wanted to share with all of you as well. Thank you for the time. Thank you for inviting me out.
Oh, okay. My fellow organizer, Emily, is going to make an announcement. And thank you, Donna, for those very inspiring words.
Yes, thank you so much, Donna. And thank you for all of you coming out today, and for all of our speakers, and for Johnny Brenda's, all generously donating your time. So I'm at the table up there. We're going to draw the 50-50 at 2 o'clock, so it's a little under half an hour. while everyone is still here. So if you want tickets, they're $1 a ticket, $10 for an arm length, or $20 for a wingspan. And then we'll have buttons and postcards available for the entire length of the event. And make sure that you sign up on our sign-up list if you want to keep in touch with what we have coming up in the future. We're going to have a forum on October 1st with a different lineup of speakers. So, make sure you sign up or like us on our Facebook page so that you can keep involved in what Philly Women Rally has in the future. Thanks.
Thank you, Emily. All right, so next up we do have Rep. Mike O'Brien. He is the representative here in the 175th District. He's also my representative, so I'm very excited that he can be here today. Representative O'Brien.
We also love to do steps.
These are monster steps, by the way.
I was reading an article this morning, and it was saying how doctors, male doctors, tend to be introduced as Dr. Jones, whereas women tend to be introduced as Joe. So, I'm Mike, and I'm glad to be here today with Representative Bullock. You know, there's Women's Health Caucus in Harrisburg. We have to say health because Alvarez will probably say choice. But we have been working very, very hard on a women's agenda. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to read this in this light, but let's give it a shot. So, we have a bill in there for increased funding for breast and cervical cancer screening. We have a bill in there for equal pay legislation, big one, right? We have another form of that for equal pay legislation with Representative Bullock as the joint sponsor. And it goes on and on and on of bills that have been introduced. But you know what the big difference between Pennsylvania and New York is? The idea of this women's agenda came from New York. In New York, they're law. In Pennsylvania, they're bills pending. So what can you do? Obviously, your representatives in Philadelphia were full board. Well, what can you do? It's a Republican leader who calls these bills up to the floor. Get in touch with Dave Reed, the Republican leader. Let him know that there's an advocacy out there. Let him know that it's important to us. Let him know that nothing in these bills makes life worse for anyone, but only makes life better for everyone. Dave Reed, be active. Easy stuff. Pick up a pen, pick up a phone. Let them know. And Representative Bullock, who's off playing video games, and I will keep up the fight in Harrisburg. Thank you very much. You know, just want to show off she was.
I probably only have one more over down the steps in me. Thanks so much, Rep. O'Brien. We appreciate you being here and being here in the 175th. Okay, our next speaker is Lindy Lee. She is a political activist. She's also a member of the Board of Trustees for the American Association for Cancer Research. And she's the Women's Co-Chair and Regional Chair at the Democratic National Committee at the Dems Executive Committee. So Lindy is a very accomplished young lady, and we're very excited to have her here.
First of all, hi everyone, my name is Lindy Lee. I want to start off just by thanking Beth, Laura, Emily, I don't know, there you are, and Allie. I'm practically blind, I can't see in the dark, but thank you so much. My heart goes out to you. I adore you ladies more than I could ever say, and you've accomplished so much this year to have, was it more than 50,000 people show up for a women's march? That is a am also a woman. But guess what? I think being a woman is the greatest thing ever. Don't you feel that way? Don't you feel a sense of strength inside of yourself? Right? But it's not right that you're still being pain. Oh my gosh, I want to give a special shout out to this lady, Mel, right? She is the CEO of Full Abundance and doing outstanding work. And we have so many public servants in the audience who make Philadelphia the vibrant and beautiful city it is. Thank you so much for your leadership. I just want to say that I don't think it's right that you're being paid 78 cents on the dollar, right? You're just as good, if not better, than your male counterparts. And I don't think that our bodies should be legislative battlegrounds. You should be the master of your own destiny. Why are we letting men decide what we can do? Your fate should be in your own hands. And I don't think it's right that we are still victims of sexual assault and domestic abuse. That's not okay. This is 2017. We have to say enough is enough. And I see some young girls in the audience, so let me tell you a brief story. And I think it just embodies the sense of determination that we should carry with us wherever we go. At my college graduation speech, Steve Carell was also there, and it was supposed to be me and him speaking on stage. But that day it was raining cats and dogs. It was pouring. And my dean comes up to me and says, "We got to keep your speech really brief. We got to give Steve Carell the stage because he's obviously more important than you, and we have 6,000 people waiting." He didn't say it like that, but we have 6,000 people waiting out in crowds, and they're in their orange ponchos. We got to make sure they get inside as soon as possible. So cut down your speech. And I was devastated because I had been waiting for this one for 4 years. And I always felt like he treated me a little bit more differently than he had my male counterparts. But I said, being the docile and demure person I said, fine, I'll cut down my speech. But the rain didn't get any better. In fact, it got worse. And the dean comes up to me a few moments later telling me, "You know what, it looks like we're going to have to send your speech out as a PDF. Because it's just, the weather is extremely inclement, and you just got to get everyone inside." I was heartbroken. Didn't really know what to do. I just felt this throbbing in my head because I've been waiting for this moment for 4 years. I turned to Steve Carell, and I have a tweet to prove this on June 5th, 2012. I thanked him later. But I turned to Steve Carell and I said, "The dean won't let me give my speech." And he said, "Well, you know what? You're on live TV. Once you're up there, no one can pull you down." And so I didn't say anything. I kept my plans to myself. But as we were approaching the stage, I do remember that huge umbrella. And I didn't say anything. They did have to introduce me that day. I had to stand up. They introduced me as the world's nicest dictator. Yeah, anyway. So once they introduced me, though, I went up to the podium and I gave my whole gosh darn speech. And I didn't cut it down. I could still see the raindrops just falling down, and I knew in that moment that I wanted to do this. I didn't want to live a normal life. I wanted to transform communities. I wanted to make it better. I'm a first-generation immigrant. America is the best thing that ever happened to me. Sure, we have a host of problems. America is still the greatest nation on earth. We cannot rest on our laurels. We have to work hard to make sure that it remains that way. And I'm so glad I decided to buck the rules that day and give my speech. It was one of the greatest decisions I ever made. And each time, it's like confidence is like a muscle. Your heart's like a muscle. Each time you use it, it just becomes easier the next time. And I see a lot of young girls. What's your name? Ariel. I hope you bring that same mentality to every single thing you do. And that's why I share this moment with you. I so strongly believe that Beth, Laura, Emily, Allie, and whoever's here, I can't see, but be like them in your communities. They are the champions of Philadelphia. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm really honored and grateful to be here.
Thank you so much, Lindy. That was such an inspiring story, and now I want to go give a speech in the rain on live television. Okay. Okay, so our next speaker is Rebecca Reinhardt. Rebecca is the Democratic candidate for Philadelphia City Controller. She recently defeated the three-term incumbent to get that position on the ballot. I'd like to think it's a little bit because of the work that we've done. So Rebecca, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Beth. Thanks so much for having me and the others that organized this event. I really, really appreciate all of you coming out. I think it's so important. And first, as Beth said, I did defeat a long-time incumbent in May, and it's because people got out and voted and came out and supported me. So thank you, first and foremost, for making it happen. And I really, really appreciate that. And many people don't know what the city controller does, right? So the city controller is the financial watchdog of the city and the school district. And so, what I said often and what I'm going to do when, assuming I win in November, and hopefully I do, so I need you all to go out and vote for me, that the role of the controller can be used to really make the city run better and have the city run more efficiently and effectively and save millions of dollars. And I know that from working within the city. I have confidence in that, and that's money that can go towards schools and rec centers and things that our communities really, really need. I live in Center City. My daughter goes to public school. She's going into second grade next year. And that's something that I think we feel every day here as women, as mothers, as sisters, and all of the different roles that we play in families, that how important education is. So one of the things that I became very aware of while running for office was how few women are in elected office in Pennsylvania. So in the state of Pennsylvania, which ranks the Commonwealth, which ranks 40th out of the 50 states in terms of female representation in government, statewide, there's 20 delegates or representatives to Congress from the state of Pennsylvania, the 2 senators and then the 18 members of Congress. None of them are women. Okay, so 0 out of 20. In the state legislature, about 18% of the members are women. And in the city of Philadelphia, we've never had a women mayor. If elected in November, I'll be the first female city controller. And thank you. There has been a woman TA, Lynn Abraham, but it's not that common. And there's not that many female city council members either. They're growing, and there's some. So, and I say that just for the awareness of how important it is for women to run, to think about running, and also to support other women that are running. I got great support, and I'm looking at that because we had meetings to talk about how to work together and she really used the network of the Women's March in January to help me in my run. And I think that women, we can really help each other, and the men that are here that are awesome supporters of women, we absolutely need you too. So I think in terms of how to get involved, I think that we need people to run for a committee person. I don't know how much anyone knows about how the political structure works in Philadelphia, but the city is broken up into wards, and each ward is broken up into divisions. And there are divisions, and each division has an elected committee person, and that represents about 4 square blocks. We need people, young, progressive people, to run for those spots, and that's then you can rise up through the ranks of the party. There's an organization called Philadelphia 3.0, which actively trains recruits, and if you go on the website and you just put your name in, they'll call you. So, even if you're sort of interested, that's a great way to get involved. I'm also looking for volunteers, interns through November to help out for my campaign, because election in November is really important. I know in Philadelphia, we feel that the primary is really the election, right? So now that I won in May, I'm pretty well set, and that's what people say, but at the same time, I still have to make an effort, and things still can go wrong. Hopefully not, but it's important that everyone get out and vote. Really, really important. And not just for city controller and not just for DA, but also for all of the judges that are up. There are state Supreme Court races up on the ballot in November, and that'll be one of the deciding votes for school funding, for example. So it's very important you get out and vote. So with all of that, I just want to say, thank you for being out and for supporting women's rights and really family rights. And I think one thing I'm also working on is I think that we need fresh change politically, locally, in Philly and also across the country, and that change will then invigorate the National Democratic Party, which I think needs some fresh invigoration. And so I think that's really the way that we can eventually defeat higher elected officials, Republicans, and put more women's voices in elected positions across the country. So with that, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it, and I'll be around if any of you want to talk. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, and we're very excited to follow your journey through November and beyond. Okay, so next on our list is Natalie Catin. I hope I said that right. Natalie is the president of the National Organization for Women in Philadelphia, and I'm very excited to have her here to talk to us about what NOW is doing now.
Hi everyone, my name is Natalie. I'm currently the president of the Philadelphia NOW chapter. Everyone knows that there's a NOW national chapter, but we actually, although we do some work with Terry O'Neill, who's phenomenal, we actually also send our own 2 feet, because Philadelphia has a lot going on here locally as well. But what we do mostly is just partner with other organizations, and we do tons of sponsorships. Actually, I think on Tuesday we have a conference, a press conference coming up to talk about wage equity. Recently, we joined some other organizations to stand up for women of color who are not being treated by policemen. And so we actually did this event called Say Her Name. And so we sit on the steps with Mayor Kenny, and we listed and read off a few names of women who have not been recognized in the media. We also do tons of work with getting women out to vote. We sponsor and endorse people who are running for office that actually stands up for the things that we believe in. I see Rep. Sims here, Rebecca here. We supported them. I think Mike was here, Brian, we supported him as well. So we're out in the community, we're pushing, we're agitating, we're sending out tons of emails. Please, visit our website often. It's phillynow.org. Just to kind of keep up with what's going on. We meet every second Mondays at 210 Center on JFK Ave. And we're actually trying to figure out different ways to get into different parts of the city and not just stay in Center City meeting. So we're thinking about ways to get into like Mount Airy and South Philly so we can get more people out. We have a small exec board, but about 200 members that we mail to whenever we have information to share. But our executive committee is what does most of the work. But other than that, we're out, and like I said, we're pushing, we're coming together with organizations, we're meeting people such as Beth, and coming out and talking to folks, and making sure that we're all just informed and we know what's happening. And I think the number one thing now that we should be focusing on, other than wage equity, is also healthcare. Make sure you're making your phone calls, you're sending postcards, you're knocking on doors, and you're just informing folks of what's going on, because the vote is near. It may not pass the first time, but there's a possibility that it'll pass the second or third time it comes up. So let's just stay informed, and I'll be around if anyone wants any additional information on NOW and what we're up to. We'd love to have new faces, fresh faces to come out and support and continue doing the work that Beth is actually doing as well. Thank you very much.
All right, that's my last trip up those stairs. have a 5-minute warning for the 50-50 raffle, so if you want to get in on that, now is the time. And we're going to draw that ticket in a few minutes. And also, Natalie, thank you so much for telling us about Now Philadelphia. Okay, so our next speaker is Representative Brian Sims. Rep Sims is from the 182nd District. He has been a huge ally to us. And you want to stay down there? Oh, you're gonna, okay. He's been a huge ally to us. He was also a speaker at the Women's March in Philadelphia. We're very excited to have him here. And I'm going to keep talking about him while he makes his way around the room. So, Representative Brian Sims.
As you couldn't tell by the way I was dressed, I'm state representative. First of all, thank you for doing this on a Sunday at a bar, so I can bring a drink with me. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, everybody who is drinking. I love you back. So, when I got asked to do this, I thought of the couple of messages that I could pass on that maybe others won't, or the things that I could reiterate that were the most important. And the two things that I could come up with were first about how to interact with my colleagues, and second about how to become one of my colleagues. So, I am very fond of telling people that legislators are scared to death of women. My colleagues in the Pennsylvania State House are am I being recorded? Are fucking scared to death of women. For lots and lots of reasons, right? I don't want to psychoanalyze everybody, and we could all spend the next 3 hours talking about why the men that control my workplace are so scared of women. What's much more important is how to use that fear, right? I don't think it's news to any of you that using fear of women can be pretty powerful, maybe perhaps especially most with the legislature. And so, what I want to pass along are first a series of lessons that I've learned as an advocate and now as a member of the legislature. Beth talked a little bit about it, but before I became a state representative, I was counsel for the Philadelphia Bar Association, but I also ran Equality Pennsylvania. And I spent years advocating in this state, trying to essentially lobby in this state for a change in LGBT rights legislation. And as a lawyer, one of my favorite things to do is sort of impart data on people. And I know a whole lot of data about equality. And I used to think that if I could sort of make that case, that the sort of mathematical case for equality, as I knew that I could, that it would mean that equality would happen with the state legislature. And I now know, of course, that that's not exactly the case. But what I learned just a couple of years ago, and I learned this after I became a member of the State House, were two very valuable tools about advocacy. See, both Pew and Quinnipiac did this very large-scale meta-study about how we change people's minds in America, how you can relay information to somebody that's actually going to make them behave differently, not just so that they'll understand the information you have. And those are two very different things to get out of a conversation. To impart information is one thing. To try to get a person to change their behavior because of what you tell them is a whole different thing. And that's what we want when we talk to members of the legislature. It's not just telling them things, we want them to behave differently because of the information that they have. So the first tool that I learned from this big meta study was a really tough one for me, and that was that passing along information was not nearly as important as I thought it was. For years, I had just been making these cases for equality that I thought, because they were so steeped in data, so backed by information, that they were irrefutable. Well, it turns out in the United States that if you're trying to change somebody's mind and to get them to behave differently, no amount of data that you give to them is going to do the trick. What does do the trick are personal stories. Now, it's really fascinating because that means that all of those people that I know that put trust in me to advocate on their behalf because they thought I knew better data, that I had better answers to some of these questions, actually were just as good at changing people's minds as I was going to be, because everybody has a personal story. The way that this has played out for me is that when I have people that come and campaign for me, and I tell them, if you're going to go knock on somebody's door, and they say, well, what does Brian think about reproductive rights, or what does Brian think about economic justice? Don't tell them what I think. Tell them what you think and tell them why you support me. And I've seen this play out time and time and time again when colleagues come to talk to me after they've been lobbied by somebody. Nobody ever comes to me with data. Nobody ever comes to me with information they got on a piece of paper when they were being lobbied. They all come to me and they relay their personal story. So the first thing that I want to tell you is that the absolute most effective tool in advocacy is something that every one of you already has, and that's your own personal story. On any issue that you can think of that a legislator is getting something wrong, and there are a lot of them, if you are personally impacted, and I promise that you are in any way, that is the most effective tool in advocacy on that issue. The second part of this is how you relay that information. I think this one's really important. A lot of times people don't want to tell that personal story because they're afraid of how they're going to do it. They're afraid that they're not going to be eloquent, that they're not going to be compelling, that they're not going to tell their story in a way that actually changed somebody's mind. They're afraid the hiccups that we all have, the ums and the uhs, are going to be so overpowering for their audience that it's not going to matter. And I'm here to tell you that not only is that not true, but actually the opposite of that is true. It turns out that sort of NPR, sort of BBC style voice that we all are used to listening to on the radio is very, very easy to listen to. It's very easy for our brain to process that slow, melodic speech that you hear on the radio. Frankly, it's part of the reason that people have those voices is it's got to go right into your ear. Except that it goes right out your other ear. And it turns out that when you're talking to somebody and they're not as clear and eloquent as people on the radio, which is the rest of us, you actually have to try a little harder to understand them. Those little ums and the uhs that we all have, those audibleized pauses that we all make, those little mistakes that we all make in our speech when we're talking to somebody, actually require the person listening to us to kind of lean in a little bit more and pay a little bit more attention. It requires their brain to actually focus a little bit more on what you're saying, and they're more inclined to remember it and more inclined to process it. And so the two things that I want to tell you the most about advocacy is the most effective tool in advocacy is your own personal story. How great to know. And the most effective way to translate that story in a way that is going to make somebody actually behave differently is to just do it in the way that you do it. Isn't to have polish. It's not to be able to get up and give this big epic speech in front of thousands. It's about telling one person your story, your way, and knowing that the way that they're listening and what they're hearing is going to make them change their behavior. It's a really powerful thing to know. So the second part of all of this, and it's the last part, I promise, and this is something that my good friends have heard me say a lot. Hold on, I'm going to drink before I say this. Cheers. Is aside from the fact that my legislature is scared to death of women, there are just too many damn men in the Pennsylvania legislature. And I want to explain to you why that is such a problem. And I was going to applaud, I'm one of them, but I think I'm doing my best. So I have this theory that good government is about empathy. And I don't mean this in a particularly high-minded way. I mean, there are very high-minded ways of explaining that. But in a very real-world way, the reason I think good government is about empathy is that I will vote on upwards of 1,000 bills this year. And of those 1,000 bills, only about 50 have ever impacted my life or will ever impact my life. Where I can kind of look at my own life experiences to kind of figure out how something like this would impact me. Everything else requires me to put myself in somebody else's shoes. It's the definition of empathy, putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and trying to figure out how something will impact them. So it turns out that in the United States, women are statistically significantly more empathetic than men. No gasps, please. I hope that surprises none of you. And I want to be clear here, I'm not talking about empathy. It is perhaps true that women are more empathetic than men. I don't know, I've never seen the data. And I'm not talking about outside of the United States. I've only seen data in the US, although I'm guessing most of us believe that this is probably true worldwide. And part of the reason is because there's nothing biologic about that. There's no biological component to empathy as far as we can tell. The reason that women are statistically significantly more empathetic than men is essentially growing up in a patriarchal world that is not designed around them. It's that Ginger Rogers thing. It's having to do everything that Fred Astaire did, but having to do it backward and in heels. Builds a level of confidence that is hard to overcome. So if I believe that good government is about empathy, and that women are statistically more empathetic, it would follow that more women in government would equal better government. Well, it turns out that's true, and I think I can prove it. The states in the United States that have the least women in government have around 11-12% of their legislation. And you think that Pennsylvania would be doing things right? We're at 18.4%. 18.4% of elected positions in Pennsylvania are held by women, in a state that is a majority of women. There are 53% women in this state. Right now, I think Afghanistan has 28.5% women in its government. I think China has 29.5% women in its government. But it's more than about optics. And here's what I mean. Yes, we have a representative democracy, and if there are women in this democracy, it follows that women should be a part of that representative democracy. Of course, that's true. But it's much more than that. We've been studying women in government since the early 1970s. 1971, 72, with the birth of Emily's List. I hope all of you know about Emily's List. Right? Applause in the back. Emily's List. Early money is like yeast. That's Emily. It helps the dough rise. In the late 1960s, early 1970s, a group of radical, pissed-off women, hope that sounds familiar, figured out that if you invested in women candidates early on, they were more likely to find success later on in their candidacies, of course. So Emily's List started finding, funding, and training women to run for office, but they also studied what happened when they did. And it turns out that women don't focus on the 10% of bullshit on the left or the 10% of bullshit on the right. They actually focus on government. In fact, and this is again no surprise to anybody, women are the most progressive voters in America. In fact, if you're an African American woman between the ages of 24 and 35, you fall in the most progressive Democratic group in the United States. And yet you never hear about that. I never hear a group of young African American women ask what their viewpoint is, because that would be statistically the most progressive viewpoint in America. And what that means is that those are people that vote from what they see from their front door. They don't vote on esoterics. They don't vote on, the last person that walked into their office and told them what was important to them or bought them a steak dinner. They vote on what they see from their kitchen. They vote on what they see from their front door. They vote on what they see in their schools and on their streets. And that's what's missing in our legislature. I promise you we are never going to make decisions at the legislative level where we forget straight white men. Never, ever, ever. Like, nobody's ever going to pass a bill and think, crap, what's going to happen to my dad? No. We have straight white men covered. What we don't have is everybody else. I'm going to end with this, and this is why I hope that you all will be more mindful. One of the big problems is that women vote for women less. Women promote women less. Women pay women less. Now, I think all of us know that that's because we live in a society that is pitting women against each other, and that we can change all of that. And one of the ways to change that is to elect more women to Pennsylvania government. Now, we all agree on that. The question is, how do we make it happen? And I will tell you that this resistance right now is one of the other things that scares the hell out of my colleagues. They're all looking at each other, they're looking at themselves, and they're wondering if they've done enough. The answer is a resounding no. And so there's an organization called Emerge PA. If you write something down for me, write down Emerge. Emerge PA is run by one of my favorite people in this state. Her name is Ann Wakabayashi. She is an utter badass. And what Ann is doing is she is finding and funding and training the leaders, the women leaders of tomorrow. And I promise you one last thing. Every single thing that I fight for in this legislature, women's rights, reproductive rights, racial and ethnic justice, LGBT civil rights, nutritional justice, you name it, everything that I fight for would be better with more women in this government. We have an opportunity to make that happen. Please help these organizations make that happen. If you are frustrated with the candidates that you see out there, you don't see somebody that represents your values, great. Become that person that represents your values. That's the most important thing that we all can do right now. Yes, support the right candidates, but please consider becoming the right candidates. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Brian. Rep Sims, Brian, thank you so much for your inspiring words. I hope some of you will think about what he said, and if you don't see that elected official who represents you, become that person. All right, our next speaker is Deja Lynn Alvarez. She is a trans activist and advocate, and we're very pleased to have her here. And I think she has quite a few fans in the room.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I want to thank you all for having me here. As a trans woman, to be included in the women's empowerment movement. I was also one of the speakers at the Women's March for 50,000 people. That was absolutely incredible. And this is incredible to finally see that trans women are being included in the women's movement. In order to have a women's movement, it has to include all women, right? In the late 1890s through the 1920s, when my great-grandmother, my great-aunts, and all of them were fighting for women's liberation, women's rights, etc., no one was really thinking, well, who should it include? I think they just kind of felt like it should include women. And I think now we need to make sure that happens. So that includes immigrant women, women of color, undocumented women, disabled women, elderly women, lesbian women, and trans women. Any movement has to be inclusive. I tell people all the time, they're like, Deja, well, I'm trying to understand. So, well, you know what? Stop trying to understand me. Just respect me. Respect me for who I tell you that I am. Respect a lesbian woman who tells you she's a lesbian. Don't ask her why. I don't ask you why you drink chocolate milk, or why you drink red wine, or why, if you have curly hair, you change your hair to straight hair. If that's what you like, or that's who you are, that's who you are. So let's go with that. You know, I hate coming up after Brian Sims. Thank goodness I'm before Nellie. Because when I saw the lineup, I was like, oh good, I'm before Brian and Nellie. And then I walked through the door, they're like, hey Deja, we have to move you. So Brian's going to be on before you. I was like, oh shit. But, you know, as a trans woman, I have fought really, really hard to be included in spaces. And that meant showing up when I knew I wasn't welcome, when I knew I wasn't wanted, and when I wasn't sure how people were going to receive me. But I got to a point in my life where I don't care how you receive me. I know who I am. As women, we know who we are. And it's time we stop waiting for someone to invite us to these places and stop waiting for someone to hold the door open for us and kick the door down. It is our time. You know, I want to thank Trump. I have not yet, nor will I, the entire time he is in that office, refer to him by the P word. Well, there's a couple P words I could refer to him as. I would grab him by the P word, but I don't think he has much of one. But I want to thank him, because what he did was he woke a lot of us up. He made us step up. And again, I'll mention the late 1800s through the 1920s, what our great-grandmothers and our great-aunts and all of our ancestors before us did. He woke us up and made us want to get up there and do that. Made us want to get out there and do a 50,000 person women's march just here in Philadelphia. That wasn't even the national march. That was just the Philadelphia Women's March. So Trump has done some good in this country. He may not want to. He may not want to acknowledge that, but he has done some good. He's also woken us up to the racism that was still alive and well in this country that I think everyone thought was gone, or it was tucked away neatly in this little box so no one was paying attention anymore. He woke that up. He woke a lot of us up to start seeing a lot of things that were not so visible any longer, that we had all just kind of rested on and said, oh, okay, everything's hunky-dory now. As a trans woman, particularly trans women of color, our life expectancy is 35 years old. 35. I'm now in my early 40s, so I'm considered a senior. But that's okay. I'm happy to be here. I'm proud to be here. I'm proud to be a trans woman. I'm proud to be a former sex worker. I'm proud of all the things that have made me who I am today. But we live in a society that keeps all women down. But we only stay down if we allow them to keep us there. So movements like this and ladies like Beth and Laura and the other ladies that are all involved in this, they woke up too. They said, whoa, wait a minute, hold on. They probably checked some of their privilege. And a lot of us have to check that privilege. Even myself as a trans woman, I have to check that privilege. I may be a little more passable than some, or my skin is lighter, my last name is Alvarez, but I appear more white. That's a privilege, even in our community. It's fine to check that privilege, but don't think just because you have some privilege, you can't stand up and fight. But when you do stand up and fight, be ready for people to try and tear you down. But guess what? They're already tearing you down. So it doesn't make a difference. Just keep fighting. That's what we have to do. We have to fight. And right now is our time to fight. No matter who's sitting in the White House, no matter who's on his cabinet, they're only going to be there, but for as long as we allow them to be. And in the meantime, we can make our voices heard. We can make sure that we don't lose any of the progress that we've gained over the years. We may not be able to get any progress in this moment, but we can sure as hell make sure we don't lose any of it. So we need to come together. So the next time there's one of these events, tell everybody you know. Invite everybody you know. Man, woman, immigrant, undocumented, disabled, elderly, doesn't make a difference. Invite everybody. And make sure they show up at these events. This is where we're going to make a difference. Don't be afraid to make a difference. Don't worry about what people think about you, because all the greats in our country, in our world, that have ever existed, reached a point where they no longer cared what people thought about them. Because if they stayed in that place, they would have never stood up and fought for us. Now we have to stand up and fight not only for ourselves, but to honor the previous warriors and to make sure that we pave a better way for our future warriors. Thank you everybody for inviting me. Enjoy your day.
Deja, thank you so much for your bravery and your honesty. I, for one, will stand with you in those spaces that they don't welcome you anytime you want me to. Okay, next we have Nellie Fitzpatrick. I feel like he's knowing
So, unlike everybody here, I have some prepared remarks, and I don't know what Deja is talking about because I hate following her because there's no comparison. So, in light of some things. When I sat down to consider today's theme, where do we go from here as a movement? How do we continue to build and sustain momentum? How do we find the energy to continue to fight, to resist in the face of overwhelming hurt and need in an ever-worsening political environment? When I contemplated these questions, I realized that I don't have those answers, that none of those questions can be solved individually in the absence of collective action. So, what sustains collective action? And the energy we experienced at the Women's March and other demonstrations that took place across the country earlier this year. And what I ultimately arrived on is compassion. It is not always a part of a political discussion, especially when the lines drawn seem so stark and the stakes are so high. But it's necessary. We need compassion towards ourselves, towards one another. This work is very difficult. Not just the high-level work, the resisting the agenda of the Trump administration, trying to protect the rights of vulnerable communities, the immigrant communities, Muslims, people of color, LGBTQ folks, the housing insecure, the poor and working class, and so many more. But the self-work that a commitment to progressive values demands. The collaborative work of coming together across differences to create the kind of diverse community that we want our government to acknowledge and respect, to foster the very kind of diverse community that our world reflects. When that generation's in charge, we'll be a lot better off, right? The power of compassion has become even more apparent to me since I began my own criminal defense law firm a few months ago. Thanks, David. The capacity to connect over our shared humanity is enormous. It is far greater than the cultural meanings that we ascribe to our difference, to the labels that are assigned to us. It's when we refuse to allow those labels to dictate our interactions with one another that we can trust, we can be truly productive, and that we can be here for one another. There is always a call to fight. The politics of the moment demand it. But there is also a need to look around at one another and to tend to our bruises, to respect and acknowledge the scars that we carry. They are not the same scars on each and every one of us. Some are fresh, some are old, some spanning generations, collective and individual, but all pain regularly ripped open by the fear and uncertainty of this moment. We may not be able to prevent those bruises or lessen those scars, but we can care for each other. We can meet each other on our own respective journeys of pain and politics and resistance with love and with compassion, with forgiveness and understanding. And I think it's okay to say so, to need that. The battlefield is weary, and sometimes we need to put down our swords and care for one another. We also need to find a place of compassion towards those who would see us fail, who are diametrically opposed to our progressive politics, who would happily see our rights decimated. This may be the most difficult compassion to muster. It feels in so many ways undeserved, like a compromise of what we're fighting for. But where are we left in an us versus them world? Can we blame others for refusing to see our humanity if we refuse to see theirs? Compassion allows us to recognize one another even when we don't agree, even when the world would make us enemies. And the change starts right there, in those moments of recognition against all odds. The need right now feels so great. The tasks ahead so enormous it can feel futile and overwhelming. But it's in the small individual daily work of compassion that we can transform ourselves and others, that we can see progress being made, that we can be progress in this world. So as we move forward, let's remember to open our arms as often as we raise our fists. The fight is won on many ways and on many fronts, and let's come through it with more love, more forgiveness, a greater capacity for compassion and understanding than we began. Thank you.
Glad those stairs didn't get you.
They're huge. Okay, thank you so much, Nellie. Okay, we have one final speaker for you today. Her name is Donna Miller, and she's here representing Emerge PA, which a number of our speakers have already referenced. She's going to tell you about the work that they do helping women run for office. And she is also a graduate of their program.
Thank you so much, Bud. Hello, everybody. How you doing today? First of all, I want to thank Beth and Philly Women Rally for inviting Emerge and myself to come here and speak today. I want to start off by saying that every woman in this room, yes, every woman up here too, needs to run for office. And I'm going to tell you why. When I first applied for Emerge, I never thought about really actually running for office. I just wanted to meet a bunch of amazing women who thought they were crazy enough to change the world. And I did. They were doctors and lawyers, and they were teachers, and they were homemakers, and they were freelance writers, and they were amazing. And what Emerge taught me, and what these women showed me, was that I could no longer just put this burden or put this responsibility on other women, and that I needed to step up and take that responsibility on myself. Many people have come up here and said this number, 18%. 18%. You have to think about that number for a minute. 18% is not representative of our nation or of our state. And it is time that we take the responsibility to step up to get to that parity. And parity and equality is not just symbolic, and it's not just, I want to run to be a role model, I want to run to prove a point, but parity is important. Having women in office is important for middle class and working families because they are more likely to bring their issues to the floor. Women bring more strategic and working across the aisle skills and leadership than their male counterparts. Women are more likely to bring money back to their districts, 8% more than their male counterparts. Women in office is important.
remember my day in my interview with Mary Jo Daly, and the woman I described today is a modern-day Selena. Her name is Noelia Diaz. I sat across from her and went on telling them I was going to be the first African-American Pennsylvania Attorney General, and I still believe it. I went on and rambled how Miller for PA was going to bring across the state, and they believed me. And every day those women hold me accountable to that mission. I left them and said 175 LSAT score is what I needed to get that, and every day they check on me. Donna, how about that 175? So that responsibility shows me and shows these women that we needed to support one another. A woman needs to be asked 9 times to run for office before she thinks about it. 9 times. You ask a man once to tell him he got some money, he says okay. 9 times. Somebody in this room needs to hear that 9th ask. Somebody in this room needs to make that 9th ask, because the burden that women face when they run for office is ridiculous. Not just in Hillary, and not just in some of the local elections that you see today, but everywhere. For a committee person, they look at you and say, why? This is not for you, but I'm here today to tell you this is for all of you. We have enough lawyers, and we have enough doctors in office, and we have enough career politicians, but we need our single mothers. We need people right now who are struggling with student loan debt. We need sexual assault survivors. We need LGBTQ folks to step up and run for office, because these marginalized groups are being forgotten about every single day. Say one last thing, and which was brought up before. It is so important to support your women candidates early. Money equals valuability, and if you can raise money early, they show you that you are a threat. So I asked, even if you don't have a lot of money, you can't do it. I gave $10 to one of my fellow sisters, along with my other money for student loan debt that I had, but it meant something for her. And even if you can't give money, you can knock a door. You can take a petition out for her and get it signed, because she needs a lot of signatures. You can be there to support her, even if you cannot be that candidate. We all have a place in this rally. We all have a place in this movement. So I just ask everybody to remember that, and to not sit by and let it go on any longer. Because 18% is ridiculous. And we should not be excited by a 13% increase. We need 100%. We need everybody not to only come out and win, we need somebody to come out and vote. I started Vote the Odds because no one ever thought about voting during the odd years that much. No one even thought about young African American millennials when you think about voting in the odd years. What? Young African American millennials, what is that? It's not just those who live in Center City and all of us go to happy hours, but it's those who are on the corner. Those of us from Westwood Plain and North Philly, we forget about those people. So it's about going out and reaching out and talking to them, to run, to vote, to educate them, because they are important to us. So that's my last end of my spiel. If anyone wants to know more about Vote the Odds or Emerge, please come and talk to me. I'll be here for a while. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Beth, for asking me to come speak. And thank you all so much for everything that you've done. We have a long way to go, but you women are already starting everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Donna. All right. So look, if you're on your first ask or your 9th ask, I'm asking you now, ladies, run for office. Whether it's for the Board of Elections, or committee person, or representative in the state, or in the Senate, or in that federal House or Congress, run for office. So I just asked you twice, so you only need 71. All right, I would like to invite the rest of the ladies from Philly Women Rally to come up here and join me, and also Laura Tucker, who was instrumental in helping us organize this event. I know, be careful. All right, so first I would like to give a huge thank you to Johnny Brenda for hosting us today. They have donated this space, they have donated the fund of their staff. I'm sure they'll be happy to serve you one more drink before we go. I just wanted to really quickly summarize some of the great stepping stones we heard today.
Let's start with those letters and postcards and phone calls. They do make a difference. We heard that from our elected officials today. We know that it's made a difference in many issues over the last 5 or 6 months. So please keep that up. The next thing, your personal stories are even more important. Call those representatives' offices, tell them your stories. Find places that they're going to be and go and meet them and tell them your stories on issues that are important to you. Your personal stories, which is something that is unique to you, are the most important tool you have. Support women candidates or candidates who reflect the values and ideas that you have. Support those candidates. That's another great stepping stone that you can take. There are lots of charitable organizations out there that need your time and your energy and your help to get done the good work that they're doing. Find an organization that's working on a cause that's important to you and go volunteer for them. If you can't donate money, donate time. That's just as valuable to many of those organizations. We heard about using your privilege or checking your privilege to stand with those who have less privilege than you do. Lift up those people, help them get a little bit of what you also have. So stand with people who have less privilege than you do. I hope I got that right. And then the last thing we heard an awful lot about today, here's task number 3, run for office. I hope that you guys got a lot of really interesting and great information today. I know that I did. I want to give a huge thank you to all of our speakers who took their time out of their days to join us today. And I would like to introduce the rest of Philly Women Rally to you.
Hi, I'm Emily Cooper Morse. I founded? I don't know. But I hate saying that, but I founded the Women's March in Philadelphia and was one of the lead organizers. Along with this team, and we're missing one of our crew. Amy had a slumber party for one of her daughters, so she couldn't make it today. She still has girls at her house. So I want to quickly say something about the theme of the day, which is stepping stones and involvement at kind of every level. And I really want to touch on the fact that I don't do this for a living. I work in customer service and supply chain. And we ended up having a 50,000 person turnout for our march in Philadelphia. If I can do it, literally all of you can do it. There's no excuse now. So get involved in any level that you can, whether it's showing up to events like this and learning about the tiny ways to the big ways that you can get involved, whether it's going to events like this and sending in postcards and calling your representatives to organizing marches or running for office. You can do it. Do not doubt yourself. So don't be afraid. Just do it. And you'll find the support along the way. I did. I didn't know anyone except Beth before the march happened. So, and we founded a nonprofit together and threw on the march. So, and we all met on Facebook. So, anyway, and one other thing that I want to stress is you'll notice that Laura and I are part of Philly Women Rally, and we both have our daughters here today. And I see other moms that have their children here today. Bring them to events like this. I can assure you that pretty much all events like this are all ages, and I think it's important for not only our daughters but for our sons to be here as well. I know that there was definitely a baby boy here. Started early. This is the next generation that we're going to be encouraging 2.0. There he is. I see him. He was speaking earlier. Get your children involved. Even if they don't 100% agree with or understand what's going on, they'll absorb it, trust me. And taking them to events like this, I think, is a really important stepping stone in their future. Thank you guys so much for coming out. And here's Laura.
Thank you, Emily. Not from Laura Arblaster, I'm also one of the founding board members of Philly Women Rally and one of the organizers of the march. And I actually had the privilege of speaking at the march as the daughter of a Cuban refugee. And seeing the impact lately, especially what happened a couple weeks ago with Deja with naming him. If you ask my daughter about Donald Trump, she will say Donald Trump is a bad man, and that's really great in front of my father who voted for him. So anyway, so it's really taken a personal toll on me too, this whole administration and going the week after the march. Kind of to piggyback on what Emily said, Elizabeth. So,
Speak up.
So the week after the march was when the Muslim ban nonsense happened, and I was exhausted and I was tired and thinking, you know, oh, should I go, should I go? And I took my daughter to the airport that Sunday. I remember texting with Nellie and Brian and saying, should I go, should I go? And I went, and it was extremely impactful to see everybody there and looking in the same terminal where my mother and my grandparents came through. And I was glad I did. And people had said to me too, they're like, you know, oh, I wish I could do that with what you're doing. And I struggle with that because I think I'm not doing anything spectacular. I'm getting into my car with my kid and a sign, and you know, hopefully she'll understand down the road why I do what I do, and it's for her and for her friends and for the next generation. But it's really important that she feels that she has a voice, as you know, I'm not embarrassed of her grandmother or her mother. So yeah, it's been a privilege to do things like this, and we look forward to many more events. But thank you. You couldn't have done it. Yes.
Hi, I'll be real fast. I'm Allie, our tour. I'm also part of the Philly Women Rally and helped organize the march. So thank you everyone for coming today. It's great to see that the momentum is still going and it needs to continue through till November. So, you know, get out there and vote in November, tell a friend. You know, even though it's an off year, it's still important. So educate on yourself on who's running and spread the word.
All right, so our very last person today is Laura Tepper, and so she came to, we met her at an event that Brian Sims threw, his Women for Sims event, and she heard about these postcard parties that we've been throwing. She said, I really want to do one in Fishtown, and what can I do to help you? And so we would not be here today if it weren't for Laura's efforts to find us a venue and get the word out. So Laura, I want to say a few things. We're really very grateful.
Well, thank you. I actually really think that we owe a round of applause to these four ladies for everything they have done to bring people together in these efforts, starting with the march and up until we have future events planned. So, but when I think about why I thought an event like this should come to Fishtown, I think the answer is pretty clear. I think that this is a neighborhood that knows all about grassroots organizing, and the people here have fought for a lot of good in this neighborhood. I've lived here for 11 years, but it's been going on since way before me. And a lot of those people that are fighting for those things are women. And so I just felt like this was the perfect time to do something like this, and this is the perfect place to do it. I think Johnny Brenda represents so much that is awesome about Fishtown. So we've talked a lot about getting involved, and I think that if you want to get involved on the most local level in your neighborhood, please consider joining the River Wards Democrats. We are a group that has come together. We've combined people from the 18th and 31st wards, to the wards that are in the 19125 zip code, and many of us plan to be on the ballot for a Democratic committee, including myself. And we are always looking. Yeah, you were my 9. You did it. It was bad. But we are always looking for more people, and we meet once a month, and I believe we have a Facebook page, and but you can come up to me, myself, or anybody else in the room that's in the group, and we're happy to help you get involved. But that is really the best way if you're not sure how much time you have and you want to stay local to the neighborhood. We are doing a lot of work, and our voter turnout in the last election was record-breaking for the 18th and 31st wards, and it was due to a lot of our members going door to door in the days before the election. So that you can make a difference even at the most local level. So thank you all for coming today, and I hope you have one more drink before you go. Tip your bartenders.